is that? Howdy. 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 Who is that? Howdy. 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 Howdy.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Mechs on Deck. It is Tuesday, September 15th. And shout outs to Mr. Teha Types. Thank you for the ginormous raid. How are you feeling, my dude, if you're still here?
If he is here, what's up? We also had, all right, scrolling through, that's a lot of followers. I can power through these real quick. Holden CWS, Lurking Go out there. What's that? Filipino guy, Bowl Cutter Gamer, that's so far the best name. Jigsaw Saint, Sharkstar, you Han Butter Nubs. Okay, that might work. Gunner, Unleashed, XOMG, it's Karma, Cookie Dough, TD, J Rogers, Singary, Soshi, Plantieriv. I messed that one up. Daryl, Dig Tracks, Pentagon, Lydio, Gay Big Mac, Mauchi, Ramiz Razi, Baker Vevo, Nikois Buzzkill. Dude, okay, I'm sorry. It got dyslexia started really kicking in. Space Cables, thank you for the sub. Empress, thank you for the sub. What is up? Sorry if I probably butchered half of your words. Show us your keyboard. Well, this isn't mine, but this is what I'm typing on. So we usually do like what are you typing on this week? So we'll start that right now.
Yeah.
So this is the J01 that I built with Infinity Grain. Notice the white space bar. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, it's got Gatheron inks with just the standard springs. So yeah, it's heavy. It's annoying to build, 100%. It's not the easiest build in the world, but it feels and sounds great. I wish the springs were a little bit heavier because I've been making typos. I already make a lot of typos, and so when I get switches that are too light, I make even more typos.
Yeah. It does have those gaskets that are a little bit bigger. They can cause some issues. New J01 gasket, such an improvement. Yeah, I know Not Geo has a J01 as well. Did you get any mail this week, Chewy?
I did. I got, so real quick, I'll show these off. I didn't get any mail. My wife got mail. She's been waiting for these for a hot minute. They finally came in. So these, let me get the other one out. They get made with the prod run. Nice. So this is the Dwarf Factory Succulent Artisan. Sorry, the light is really messing with it. Super clear. Pretty awesome looking. Let me see if
Super
I can hold
clean.
both of these. Very clean, very smooth. You know, Dwarf Factory does some really awesome stuff. Sad. So Dwarf Factory is overseas. I asked them to come on the show once, but due to the language barrier, they said that was just not possible. They were not comfortable with that, but they make some awesome stuff. And there's a lot of people in chat. If you have the chubby unicorn artisan, DM Chewart Little. Chewart Little wants to talk to you. So
Been looking for that one for a while, huh?
it's been a few months as I've started, but join our Discord as well. If you're here, join our Discord, say hello. It's a cool, fun place. So yeah, that's my mail day. Not my mail day, my wife's mail day, and that's what I've been typing on this week.
Awesome. Well, I guess we'll go to what I'm typing on, and it has not changed since last Wednesday, I guess. I'm still typing on my Sirius with GMK Bingsu. It looks amazing. This has the Nolive creams, which if you're not familiar with those switches, it's just a Novel Keys cream in a like olive colored housing with a 63.5 gram spring, lubed with 205 grade 0. This thing feels great. It sounds good. Yeah, I haven't used this board in a long time, so I'm kind of putting it back through its paces, putting it back through the paces. I didn't get any mail this week.
Well, you did. Not keyboard related, but it's stream related.
What did I get?
I don't know, like the whole your like birthday gift that like.
Oh yeah. I got.
It's hard to show that off.
Yeah, so I got a new PC case. I've been rocking an S340 Elite since they like came out back in, what was that, like 2017, 2016?
17, I think 17, yeah.
Yeah, so
we moved into the house in 2016, but it was the second Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I got a new case. I got the Lian Li LandCool 2 mesh, along with a 2 terabyte NVMe drive, which I'm pretty stoked about because I no longer have like a spinning hard drive, which is I'm just rocking SSDs. So
hell yeah, dude,
we're big time now.
Dude. It's been nice not being on the spinning hard drive, that heat reduction. So guys, tonight, here in just a second, we're going, if you hit that Google form, we're answering viewer questions. If you have questions for us, whether it be keyboard related, whether it be just to get to know us, we've got a lot of new people in here. So for those who don't know, I'm Chewy. This is Osiris. Welcome to Mechs on Deck. We've been doing this for a while now.
A year and a half.
So, and we're kind of, we were talking, I was like, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I actually wanted to do this like 3 weeks ago, but then, I guess, we like spice. So thanks, Glorious, for opening up the shit heap of spice that came in the last few weeks, but that's kind of died down now. So, but yeah, it's been, that's who we are. That's what we do. It's what we do.
We talk about keyboards. We build keyboards. If you're not familiar with our channel, we're live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Tuesday is just Chewy and I talking about things in the community, doing what we're doing tonight. Wednesday, we always have a guest, and tomorrow we have Mr. Kimchi Jody Boy. And then Saturdays are our builds. So if you're bored on a Saturday afternoon, come hang out with us. But yeah, you want to get into some of these questions?
I like that idea.
Ooh.
Exo Squid. We should have a hot sauce emote. Hell yeah, dude. Where's Genly Bean? Where's Genly Bean when you need her? And Unleashed. Thank you for the Prime sub. So and then yeah, it's September, guys. So it's cheap. I guess so I said it earlier. I thought it was half off because it used to be. I think it's only $1 off for subs. But if you guys are looking to support the channel and help us keep going, by all means. PC specs. You can actually find that down below. For all of our gear. Why is it the K7? That's why, because of the memes. Before we get to the questions, I said this right before. Top fours. We haven't done our fast fours in a hot minute.
We haven't. Do you want to start? We want to go back and forth.
We'll go back and forth.
We'll go back and forth.
What do we start with? I forget. I think switches.
Switches, yeah.
Okay. Zycos, Holy Pandas, creams, 89 gram blueberries.
Ooh. I'm going to go Zycos. Moyu Blacks. Because the Moyu Blacks that I built in the Kepler a couple weeks ago blew me away. Also, I hear the Glorious Pandas are actually really good. I've heard that they're really good. I'm excited to try them. They might slot in somewhere in here in the top 4 based on what people have told me. Also, Starstone, thank you for the tier 1 for 12 months. Whole year. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, dude.
3, I'll go lubed and filmed like JWK linears. Those have overtaken creams for me, and then creams is 4.
Look at you. 50-50 linear tactile. I don't even know you anymore.
Hey, back to the roots, right? Started on
exactly.
started on cherry reds.
Genly Bean, we need a hot sauce emote. I'll hit you up after stream about that. But so next up is keyboards.
Ooh, I guess I'm going first. Top 4 favorite keyboards. Are we putting stipulations on this of like boards that you have to own or have?
I think built. I think built is. I think let's go with built because we have built quite a few. And I have a 65% on mine.
Do you really?
I do.
All right. So number 1 for me will be the Iron 165. Just because it's an amazing board. Number 2, I'll say Kepler because of, while the build can be a little bit rough because it suffers the same shortcomings of the build process that the JL1 does with the gaskets, but you can't argue that the aesthetics of the Kepler it's just insane.
I got to see it last weekend and it was. Whew.
3, I'll go Bauer. And I think those 3 boards are very tightly grouped. Like that's like one of those situations where you might wake up one day and 3 is 1 and 1 is 3. Kind of deal. And then 4, I'll go with my Sirius.
There you go. So my one is simple. It's the Baka. I designed. I love it. Like, why would I not choose my own board? I love the sound of it. I love the feel of it. I actually just rebuilt it off stream. So now it has glowy color lights that I don't really care about. But I was like, I've got the Zeal 60 PCB that I spent $90 on 2 years ago. So might as well have it not sitting in a box. Box 60, Kiko 160. That thing's just like without flaw, even though it's a B stock. Like, okay, B stock, sure. Crown right here, designed by Blind Assassin. Amazing TKL. Number 4, Bauer. I know it's a 65%, but it sounds so goddamn good. I listen to it all day long because my wife owns one. And Rick, yeah, you were 100% right. 100% right. It sounds really good, and the build, I really enjoyed that build. That was a very fun and just it's really well put together. I promise this is not because of like a Dixie sponsorship or anything. Like the only reason I do not use it is because it's 65%. It's for my wife, but I just don't use 65%. So I don't feel the need for it. But it's a really well put together board, and I know that will get kicked to the curb the second the 75% one comes.
Yeah, the Bauer's pretty great. Mine is different because I actually don't think I've played around with your wife's Bauer very much or at all. I can't remember.
You were here. It was here during the 24 hours.
Yeah, I think I did a little bit.
I'm sure you have, but
because mine's different. Because mine, I have a palm plate in mine. So whereas you have the brass plate, and obviously yours is Zyko's, mine is Mauve's. So
very different.
Very different. Also, janky render. Yeah, that is true. Limos are used in a lot of different cinema cameras as well. That's like one of the things that Limos are used for. A bunch of different stuff. Next up will be your top 4 favorite key sets.
Okay. camping, still number one. Moto, Ursa, that's the newest one. I saw the pictures today. I was like, I know that it's Ursa, and Mizu. I love Mizu. I think Mizu is. I don't. It's weird. I don't like blue key sets that much, but I think Mizu does it really, really well. So, but yeah, those are my four. Cafe is like right at 5. I love Cafe.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm checking my MK rank because I think it's changed. Man. So 4, I'll go 8008. 3, Hyperfuse Origins. 2, 9s. And 1 right now, Bingsu. I think it's carried a little bit by the recency bias of just getting Bingsu in, and but man, is it like it's one of those few times, especially as of late, where people are always upset about the way colors to renders have been. Bingsu matches so fantastically to the renders, and it just looks so good. The saturation levels between the alphas, the mods, and then the accents is just really, really clean. It's just super consistent. It looks great.
Yeah, Bingsu is definitely going to go far in 2021. My guess for the 2021 is I think Modern Dolch Light's going to wind up winning because it's safe. It's like super safe, but I could see I see Bingsu being top 4. So and then we haven't skipped food. Food's last. Rick, come on, bud.
We're not skipping foods.
We're not skipping foods. So foods I think it's your turn to go first.
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. All right, 4. I'm gonna go with. This has changed up recently because I'm kind of like more on trying to be more on a diet. So like it's gonna be a mixture of like stuff that's like terrible for my life and then stuff that's somewhat good for my life. So 4 will be terrible for me, and that's gonna be pizza. Just like general pizza. I'm into like all of it, from the deep dish all the way to the New York style and the super thin crust, the Neapolitan. And then 3, I'll go my mom's macaroni and cheese specifically. 2 will be cheese steaks. And then number 1 right now, this is the healthy entry, avocado.
Avocado.
Just
it's
avocados.
An avocado. Thanks. Dude, avocados are lit. Favorite pizza topping? Pineapple on pizza, not for me, but I don't give a fuck what you put on pizza.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Favorite pizza topping? Probably like a really good salami.
Really?
But I also love mushrooms on pizza.
Yeah, mine's gonna be like kind of like a 3-way tie between mushrooms, green peppers, and onions. Like I'll put those 3 toppings on a pizza before I put a meat.
Yeah, I think because like one of my favorite pizzas and my favorite pizza ever is like super thin New York style cheese pizza, like specifically from Cavino's.
Yeah, Cavino's pizza is pretty good.
But if I'm just getting like normal pizza, typically I'll go like mushroom and pepperoni.
Dude,
or pepperoni and jalapenos. So yeah, you didn't get sausage and banana pepper. Anyway, there's like 3 people in the world that get that joke. So, what's up, Lang? I'll go backwards like you did. So number 4 is burgers. I just love all things burgers. I think it's easy to mess up a burger, but I do love a lot of different burgers. And then 3 is going to be it's like a snack food, popcorn. I love popcorn. I eat popcorn almost every single day. 2 is going to be fried rice, specifically like super spicy Thai fried rice, kind of tied with pad Thai, but typically it's more like Thai food. But typically I'll get like Thai fried rice with like, just give me like all the Thai chilies. And then one is burritos, like Tex-Mex, like Chipotle style burritos.
Okay.
MSG fried rice. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Enough popcorn to make a meal of it. Absolutely, Jinley beans.
I think
Popcorn for meals for days.
Rick is a little bit right of like
I mean, yeah, that's
favorite food is your wife's desserts. I think that kind of
yeah.
goes in there a little bit for both of us, but it's kind of a
No.
given.
No, Doodle Bob makes, or Abracadaniel makes. Can we shout out Abracadaniel?
Yeah, dude, go
Guys,
ahead.
Abracadaniel, exclamation point, food. El Queso, Rick, hell yeah. Check out, if you guys want like to follow someone that's fucking makes dope ass food, my wife makes amazing food. And I measure out ingredients for these recipes. I just take the pictures. Red licorice is a food group, maybe root beer. I mean, I'm down for root beer.
Dude,
I fuck
get
with
you
root
some
beer.
super water, dude.
Super water. But yeah, exclamation point food. Give that a follow because she makes amazing food and post recipes.
Also, all these people that have never been here, if you live in the Dallas Fort Worth area, go to El Queso.
Yes, go to El Queso.
It's
hands
good.
down. It is my favorite restaurant. I go there when I am feeling happy, sad, or anything, or hungry.
Dude,
DIY microwave popcorn. What do you mean DIY microwave popcorn? What the fuck? Isn't all popcorn DIY? popcorn? Anyway, and there's a place called Legends by us that makes amazing. Texas
True.
Gang, what's up? You mean the packets? I still got so Keeb Noob in chat. I still need to try this. She sent me hurricane popcorn. It's like Moki, crunch, and nori. So you like pop a bag of popcorn, and then there's like seasoning in here that you dump on the popcorn. I still need to try. I should maybe like tomorrow, like while I'm listening to Kimchi Jody Boy talk about memes and energy. I'm excited for him to bring the energy. So all that. What's a good website to track all live group buys? Every time a website has come up to make a good one that does that, they give up after like a month.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Discord.
Yeah, you really gotta go on Discord.
Hello.
Like, BlowJ, thank you for the 4 months. Appreciate it, my dude. Yeah. I mean, like, Sleek Keyboards was up, but it hasn't been updated since May. MechGroupBuys.com. Yeah, the keycap lender's really good. They do actually keep up with keycaps. But it's hard for everyone to keep up with it. I know DD Decline is trying hard with the Mech Group Buys, but I know he's like, when we had him on, he was like, this is so hard.
Yeah. So yeah, Scott Water with MK Rank does have live group buys for some cool stuff. It's for I know a lot for the keycaps as well. It's just, I mean, it's hard. It's hard. Unless you like won the lottery and are just sitting around on your ass making money doing nothing. Like, yeah, maybe that's, if I ever win the lottery, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do Mechs on deck and I'll sit there and update group buys on the website. But when you're starting questions, we're going to start questions right now.
I know. What's up first, Chewy? I don't know if what I see in the responses is the same as what you see in the responses.
I think I believe it's just by the question. So like starting at 1, okay. Which I'm not answering this one because
okay,
it's clearly not directed at me.
So someone asked if I am single. This is by an apparent secret admirer. I'm like almost 100% sure this is probably one of my friends memeing. But yes, I am in fact single. I'm not part of the married man meta.
And available.
Thanks, Chewy. Appreciate it.
Wingman for life. So Zap, what's up? How's it going? Guys, get Zap cables. Number 2, can you recommend any bands, artists, and songs by Alhex?
Let me open up my Spotify.
I mean, I've been rocking out to my 2000s, 90s and 2000s alt punk pop music playlist like on repeat. Like Landia can attest because he often will hop in my thing. It's like the same 20 songs. And then the new Lady Gaga album. I've been jamming.
Nice.
Love me some Lady Gaga.
I've been on a huge like more of the like hardcore and emo shifted bands of the pop punk genre. So I've been listening to a lot of a band called Movements, which if you're into that style of music, if you like a little bit more of like somewhat emo but not like 100%, Movements is really really good. Their album Feel Something is awesome. And they have a new album coming out here in like I think a couple days actually. I think it comes out Friday. As well as No Pressure is a new it's a EP, it's a self-titled EP from a band from the vocalist of a band called The Story So Far. That just came out and it's really really good. And then the new Issues album, if someone's into more of like hip hoppy heavy like R&B metal-ish music, it like kind of has a whole bunch of different genres. It's like if you put Meshuggah music, if you're familiar with that band, and then you put Justin Timberlake's vocals on it, it's really good. So Beautiful Oblivion by Issues is really good. And then for the normies, the normie music that I listen to, I'll go with Julia Michaels' most recent releases have been really good.
I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention.
I don't expect you to know any of those bands.
Nope. I'm very stuck in my ways. Like I listen, there's like, I'm like, when is Black gonna release his next album? When is Lady Gaga gonna release their next album? Until then, I'll listen to their old stuff and I'll listen to stuff that, you know, All Time Low, Blink-182, Angels Now, all their old stuff just on repeat. So
didn't Blink-182 or not Blink-182, All Time Low do like a collaboration recently with like Black Bear?
Maybe. I
think
know
they
Mark
did.
Hoppus and Alex Gaskarth
You guys
started
are
a
awesome.
side project. Anyway, enough about that kind of music. Next up, TX Meetup When Rona Ends by Etsy13. Name is Estevan. Well, thank you for filling out this form. And I mean, I hope so. But I don't see meetups being a thing until 2021. So,
Yeah.
And KLY back. Thank you for the tier 1 sub, man.
Also, Biohazard, thank you for the tier 1 for 2 months. We appreciate the kind words. Next up, we have, if you had the ability to change any one thing about the hobby, what would you change? I believe this is from our boy Brez.
Brez, I don't know. I would if I could change it, this is kind of a multiple thing. I would make Geek Hack better. I would update Geek Hack. Flipping sucks, but flipping is basically not preventable. It does not matter what hobby you're in. There's flipping. It's going to happen. But Geek Hack should be better.
Yeah, I think Geek Hack should be better. And I think we kind of answered, for me, in the same vein, we answered this question earlier of like the fact that information on things in the hobby is somewhat hard to get.
Tacos are in.
Thank you for the 420 bits, Keeb Noob. Appreciate it. Also, enjoy your tacos. I'm sure that they are quite tasty. Hopefully, what kind of meat do you have on those tacos? You getting fancy with it and getting some like lingua or some al pastor? But I feel like flipping is hard. I feel like that's a lot of people would go to that. But like Chewy said, I think, man, information is really hard to get, as well as like historical information about products.
Yeah.
Like knowing
it's just tough.
Like if you want to go through and you want to learn like the history of something, it does take a considerable amount of time. You have to be like an investigative journalist to figure out the full history of like a brand.
Yeah.
So
So next up, do you think that recolored switches are getting out of hand? Could having so many multiple options of JWK cause a delay on getting the switches made because they have stopped production to change colors? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, sure, more switches. Like, I'm not like until they release switches with springs that are above 78 grams. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what the color of my switches are. Like, doesn't bother me as long as they keep pumping them out.
Sharkster, thank you for the tier 1, and Biohazard, thank you for the 5 bits. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's one of those deals with the recolors of like, I'm not sure what the JWK process is. I don't think it's necessarily delaying things because it's just changing out the plastic beads that they're using. So it's not like they're really having to do much because they're basically doing a run and then adding more plastic. I guess it would just change the amount of plastic that they would order. I don't know. The thing that frustrates me about the recoloreds is the people who will have all the different like arguments over which one is better when they're all like the same switch, but the spring will be slightly different. So that's what I get more frustrated about with that, but I don't think it's necessarily getting out of hand. I think it's cool to have more options. We're a hobby built on a foundation of customization. So adding different color options to switches that are pretty solid from the factory that's awesome. I think it's a cool way to, put another element of customization into your board.
Yep.
Next. Okay. Next up, let's say everything is in stock.
Tier 1.
All right, I'm gonna wait a second. I'm hearing tier 1 in my headphones.
Gnarly Charlie
times.
for you. Thank you for the 69. Nice. And Biohazard got 5 bits. And did we say Sharkstar?
Yes, I did.
Sharkstar. Oh, you did? Okay, sorry. Oh, I have not scrolled up in a minute on my on the activity feed.
Oh, well, there you go. But let's say everything's in stock and available to go. What would be your starter/first build if you were to enter the hobby right now, compared to what was your first board when you first entered the hobby?
In stock, if I was looking at that, one of the first things I did getting into this hobby, I asked Eric, but let's say that right after I asked Eric, I did buy a switch tester. That's why I always say buy a switch tester. I would have bought a switch tester, and I probably, if I was just getting into the hobby now, it means I've probably been using gamer keyboards for a while. So I'd probably get something linear. So I'd probably wind up just getting like a cherry switch, but maybe one of these JWKs. It's hard to say because like it's so different. The hobby is just so different. But I'd probably wind up getting an NK65 because of the price. I'd get one of the injection molded $100 NK65s. I think that's what I would wind up doing.
Lux Cables, what up, my dude? What was your first board when you entered the hobby?
Tada 68.
Yep.
Built by Osiris.
It's funny because my answer is going to be similar, but I'll change it up to be different. So I will agree with what Chewy said as far as where to start. But I think if we're talking about things that are sold as in stock but are not in stock very often, I think you can't argue with the value of taking the next step up and getting something from the Brutalist line from Cannon Keys, which you have all the different options from 60, 65, 1800, the Obliterated 75 that's coming out. So I think that would be kind of like the next step. Like if you're someone who's wanting to put a little bit more money in, I would say something like that. And then, probably JWK linears because they're fairly easy to get. Like Novel Keys, the Silk switches are great stock. Like you don't have to learn how to lube, which is arguably harder, significantly harder than actually building the board because the variance in lube style between people is huge. So having a consistent lubed switch from the factory in the silk switches is a great option. So I would probably do that. And then as far as for my first board, it was the same. It was a Tada 68 with Gatoron Browns, baby.
Oof. So next up is the use of another language that one does not speak or read, either primary or sub-legends, on your board for aesthetic purposes fall into the realm of cultural appropriation, or as a community, do we feel it is okay? As someone newer to the community, I don't know where I land on this issue. I don't think it is. I think there is a difference, with cultural appropriation. I think there is a difference between what you identify as and what you kind of present yourself to the world, versus just owning something that has these sub legends, because you could have bought the set based on the colors, but if you're buying the set based off of the colors and it happens to have sub legends, that doesn't mean you're culturally appropriating them. Like, I've got anime stuff that I really like Dragon Ball Z. That doesn't mean I'm culturally appropriating the origin of Dragon Ball Z in Japan. That just means I really like something. So I think that gets to be where it's kind of like, that almost seems like it's like cherry picking at what you're, like, that's like finding something to be upset about.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Gnarly Charlie, for you, hit it on the head of, I mean, it's art, one, and two, if you're not representing yourself as another culture, it's not. And I don't think that's the intention of these sets. They are in their intent is to represent, whether it's based off of a anime, video game, a art style from a different culture. It's not appropriating. It's literally just their language, because I think if you were to say that was cultural appropriation, it would be no different than the fact that saying that I'm culturally
appropriating
Japanese culture because I have two like authentic Japanese glass paintings on my walls. So it's just aesthetics. Exactly, Exo Squid. It's just aesthetics. I think
Just
Chewy, you said it perfectly too. When you're reaching, I feel like it's kind of reaching for an issue that's not necessarily there.
Who is
And
that?
HCKS Texas rating with a party of 20. Guys, if you like knife building, I know a lot of people are into the EDC life, and you want to see the best and coolest camera setup anyone on Twitch that I've seen has, go check out SCKS_Texas.
Also, if you sub to his channel, he'll give you a fantastic little monologue section thanking you for his sub. He makes some fantastic handcrafted knives over there. So,
ooh, I bet he would
check him
make
out.
a dope wrist rest.
Ooh, wrist rests and switch pullers. That's a good idea. We may mention Boner as well, which is his dog. Boner is his dog.
Hey, name's the name. What's in the name? So, next up, what do we got, Osiris?
So Chewy, did you purposely make Zykos to ruin other tactiles for me from Split Backspace?
Split Backspace. No, technically. I was actually talking with Quakeums the other day. I made Zykos to make Azaleo sound better. And what I got was Zykos. So
it's true. And I'll take partial fault in this because I had the bottoms to your Yak Pandas because I was cleaning them because you wanted to get the Cristo lube out of them.
Yep.
And you were like, I'll see how this is. And then you messaged me and you were like, dude, this is nuts. And it was.
Still is. Best linear Frankenswitch. So the Sire Sign went through a lot of these questions. This was one that was a little goofy because we don't see that many. I think, with how many linears are out right now, with the inks and everything, Zeal still makes great linear switches, and everything JWK and creams, and now you've got silk switches. There's no need for Frankenswitch things. If I had to answer, I did really enjoy, I made cream stems instead of MX black housings. And I really like that, but it's not worth the price. The only reason I did that is to make Pacos, but blueberries are better than Pacos, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's not really a need for a linear Frankenswitch, and it's not that there's not really a need as much as I don't see as much value in transitioning to a Frankenswitch. It's just the JWK linears, creams, they're so good already. Telios, they're so good. So
they're all great. Linears for me is just about sound at this point. You can make a switch really smooth. So just give me that sound. So next up, full size mechanical keyboard group buys are super rare in my opinion. What do you think are the reasons? People don't care about. A lot of this hobby is about like minimalistic sizing down, trying something different. I think people don't care about the numpad as much, and they're more expensive. That's the other thing. They're really expensive. It's hard to get a lot of people on board.
Yeah, it's expensive in every capacity, and it's, you know, one of the first things people do when they get into this hobby is figure out how to scale down their board to get something a little bit smaller. I feel like a lot of the community is also kind of into the minimalistic styling, the modern styling, which is, you know, plays into the smaller styles. Also, we've seen it even in gaming, right? Like people like, you know, Teja built the board for Tfue. It's a 65%, you know, and he used 60% before that. You know, Ducky, the 1-2 mini, the Ducky 1 mini originally was a complete flop, but then recently they came out with the 1-2 mini, and the 60% is blowing up in gaming. So,
yep.
So yeah,
which is funny because 60%
for Tfue, yeah.
60% is dying. Not dying, but it's just people have not gone. We have not seen like crazy amounts of brand new. Like we saw a lot more 60% to a year and a half ago than now. And then Poker Power Turtle, you're correct. The Oompa Loompa stems do count as a Frankenswitch, and I know a lot of people like the Oompa Loompa stems.
Yeah. Next up, they ask, where do sellers get the desk mats made? I don't know. I don't know.
Overseas.
Yeah.
How did Zykos come about? Tell us the story. Yep, basically, Cyrus kind of said it. I was getting half of my red yaks made, and in short, I made a Xanda, which is Zelio stem and a panda, and then I was like, well, I got the other half of this just sitting right here, and I was like, I like that tactility. Let's see if it'll sound better if I put a yak top on top. Put it on top, realized it sounded really good. Threw together a hot swap build and was like, holy fuck, what is this? And then, yeah, I built a Fiel with it, took it to NorCal, showed it to a bunch of people, and I credit IMEURU with its popularity.
Ooh, I'll go this one. What are Chewy and Osiris's top 3 favorite artisans? This is hard.
Are you? Well, like I was about to say, are you asking this? But are we doing specifics or sculpts?
I think we'll do sculpts. I don't want to do like specific ones because then that's gonna take more. That's gonna take longer for me to think. I'm gonna do number 3. I'll do Shishi. 2, I will do Shishi by Keyforge, if you're not familiar. Number 2, I'll do Yeti Owl by CYO. There's not a ton of them, but they're pretty freaking cool looking. And then number 1 is Bad Luck.
Number 3 is, it's kind of a toss up between the Jams and the Observer. Right now I'm feeling the Observer more, but it's also because it matches Mizu. So number 2 is the original Lerv, and number 1 is the Ambassador. So coffee or tea, boys? I think both of us are coffee. Yeah. Although I don't hate tea. I'm not against tea. I just enjoy coffee.
Yeah, significantly higher on the coffee, but I do appreciate some jasmine green tea every once in a while. Ooh, Who was the most fun guest to have on the show?
Having to dig deep.
This
Who
is
did
hard.
Boy, howdy.
You know, this is gonna sound like pandering to the person. Um, it was not Moon. I had a terrible time with Moon because I wasn't there. Uh, see, Nathan Handsome Man was good, but honestly, both times we've had Lang on because Lang's like one of my best friends now. like, I think I love having Lang, but like IMEURU is always really fun having on. And I really like when Mr. Keebs comes on too.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many fantastic guests. Like Chewy said, I'm you or you, Lang. We've had Dixie on a bunch, and that's always a good time. Heine Bush, Alex Otos, we've had on like 3 separate times.
Apiary.
Like
Apiary.
Nathan Kim, obviously. Lang, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Appreciate it, my dude.
My guy.
But yeah, I it's hard to say who is like a specific guest is the most fun because they're all like super different and they're all fun in their own ways.
Yeah.
Except for Moon. Except for Moon.
One stream that I look back to a lot and know that I had a lot of fun, and it was before, not that like the hobby blowing up and Apiary getting huge like changed her by any means. I had a chat with her the other day, but whenever we did our first 24-hour stream and we had her on for dinner, that was just cool fun. Like, let's just have dinner. Like, that's one that I always think fondly of as well. So
yeah, that was a good one. Next up, how did Chewy and Osiris meet? How did we meet, Chewy?
I got hired at Guitar Center, and he walked past me. He had hair as long as mine, and he walked past me and went, "Sup?" I was like, "Hey." It was like my first day, and then he left for a month to go on tour with his band, and then when he came back, I guess I had kind of like replaced you in that like friendship hole with your group of friends
with like
Guitar
Travis
Center,
and all
with
them.
like Trav and Billy and all them. Like in Aleem, like it was very apparent. So when you came back, it was like, oh, okay, so we're just like really good friends now because you're friends with the exact same people I'm friends with, except he had cut all his hair off.
Yeah, that's basically it. He got hired at Guitar Center. I had already been there for a little over a year. Actually, maybe a little bit longer than that, but I've been there for a minute. Like the day that he got hired on, or your first day, because Preston brought you on, who I brought Preston on. But yeah, your first day was my last day before I went to go on a short tour and then record an album. So then I came home and we were just friends from then, and then we hung out a bunch.
We went to Jason's Deli. There we have a booth.
Dude, we have the booth at the Jason's
we have
Deli.
The booth at Jason's Deli. And we would just go have lunches and dinners there all the time and hung out all the time. So work friends. And then honestly, the big anchor was Magic the Gathering. Because I left Guitar Center, and then I left Guitar Center and to focus on school. And after that, Osiris came over, was like, "Do you want to play Magic?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's play Magic."
Yeah.
And then we just got really close over that.
Yeah, and then we moved in together, and then you got married, and we moved out, and then boom. Mechs on Deck happened.
Chewy, why haven't you trademarked Zycos yet? Don't need to. What group I do you regret not getting in on? I know mine. I say it all the time.
I don't know. I feel like this one changes for me. I don't know. I feel like because I'm so happy with the boards that I have right now, it might be a key set. I think the biggest one that I've ever like felt true regret for not getting in on was GMK Olivia initially. So I'll stick with that.
Grid 600.
Yeah.
Hands down. I was not in the hobby when SA Camping came out. What key set was the most overhyped? I've got 2. Laser and not Bingsu. What's the other one I don't like? Serica. I think those two sets are super overhyped.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for some sets that have been released recently that could be overhyped. Yeah, I think Laser's a good option because I feel like the aesthetic of the community at that time, it like just
It was goofy.
It was goofy. Yeah, I'll go with Laser as well.
I think, and it's nothing against any of the designers. I think it's a set that came out, everyone lost their freaking minds, and I was just like, I don't get it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I think, and people in chat are saying like Bliss and Mizu, and I'm like, see, and I think people even would want to put like Olivia in that. Also, when I said missed out on Olivia, I'm talking about round 1, not plus plus.
Yep.
But I think you can't say Mizu's overhyped when it's ran in 3 profiles in the last like year.
And it got a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Got a lot of hate. So yeah, that's, it's hard to I think Olivia shifted what people liked about keycaps though. I think Olivia, like Carbon had done it, Hydro had done it, but Olivia is really what changed aesthetics, the community, like it really revolutionized how people started liking sets more. TD and Blue, I agree with you. So that's where I stand on that. Chewy, can you show us? So I looked at this one. I'll show this off really quick. It's from high school because honestly, I haven't. The second I graduated high school, I grew a beard. I shaved once for a funeral in March of 2011, and this is me in high school. If it will.
I mean, you looked less like a doofus in high school than I did, so I looked like a complete idiot in high school. But the question was, can you Chewy show us a picture of you without a beard?
Yeah.
Next up, where do you guys see Mechs on Deck in 5 years?
In the grave. I'm kidding. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
I have no idea. It depends on where the hobby. I think it's going to heavily depend on where the hobby is. I think realistically, I think it could do something where I think Osiris and I will want to branch away from keyboards and then do something keyboards and then something else. And I could see it turning more into like a Twitch channel, like kind of like how Teja, he does gaming now. Like he's focused more on keyboards, but I could see it being more of just like a content channel. Cyrus and I really like photography and videography. Cyrus and I have, obviously we really like gaming. So I could see it growing to that, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that could change. I don't see there being a world where we're not friends anymore in 5 years. I don't think that's. I mean, we're still gonna be friends, and we'll, I don't see either of us necessarily walking completely away from the hobby. I think even like the hobbies that we both have shared in the past that we've kind of taken a step back from, we still kind of look into. I know, like we'll have random discussions about like Magic every once in a while or about guitar stuff. So, but yeah,
I think if Mechs on Deck ever straight up stops, it'll be because one of us is just done with keeping up with the hobby.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like a breakup. It's going to be like I don't want to do this anymore. It's not personal. It would be much grander than the personal aspect of it. The other thing too is, we've always, we've talked about before expanding outside of just the two of us. Mechs on Deck doesn't have to be. I mean, it started with the two of us, but it could eventually grow to where we have more people here. Like that's how you grow, right? That's how you do awesome. That's how you do more fun things, is growing.
Yeah. Plus, it could also, who knows? Maybe it blows up and gets insane. And then we can do a lot more stuff. Who knows? Who knows? 5 years, a long time. All right.
How much do you love Amber Omron? I don't get this. Yeah. All right.
No, I don't know.
Not a lot, apparently. So let's see. What's your least favorite thing about the hobby?
Ooh. Least favorite thing about the hobby. I think people are unnecessarily harsh and toxic. I think there's a lot of like bandwagoning in a sense on issues. Um, you know, where like someone says something and then now all of a sudden that thing gets blown way out of proportion. I think there's a lot of stuff that could be solved that doesn't necessarily need a giant Reddit post or a huge blow up on a social media platform. That could be handled by just reaching out to a vendor. I think up there is also like the flipping aspect of it. Like I think everyone can agree that for the group buy model to like really survive, things need to be valued at a higher price on the aftermarket, but like 5 to 6 times retail is kind of insane. Um, but yeah, so like one of those two things, probably my least favorite. Favorite will be, honestly, like I'm not gonna say the community because I feel like
It's cop out.
it's a cop out answer.
I want to say that too, but it's cop out.
But I will say I think my favorite thing about the hobby is how easy it is for someone who is like relatively new into the hobby, someone who is a if you are getting into the hobby, you've been in the hobby for a long time, you can make something that you want easily. Fairly easily you can be given a platform in order to create something that you want and get other people to enjoy it.
Holden CWS, yes, I do. His question was, do you think Holy Band has fallen in the category of getting blown out of proportion? Yeah, they got blown out of proportion. Least favorite thing, I'm gonna go with like recent things that I've been disliking. I've been getting lots of PMs recently. It's growing more and more. I talked to the Quakems about this a while ago. I get PMs from people all the time, and it's not a bad thing, but some people treat it as like a hostile situation, or they treat it with hostility of going, I made this switch and it's better than Zycos. You should try it. And I'm like, okay, one, I don't have these random switch parts. Like, so it's not that I'm not going to go out of my way to go buy all these switch parts to try something. Because what's happening is people are wanting me to find something that I like more than Zycos, and then me credit that person to get them to be the person that designed something. And Osiris knows this. Whenever I told him Zycos, I never was like, this is the most mind-blowing, like I can't wait to, I'm going to get so popular in the keyboard community making Zycos. It was literally, I didn't even call them Zycos at first because I was like, it's whatever. Like, it's these 3 switches. I called them Zycos because I got tired of saying it's the Franken switch with this and this and this and this and all that. But people, I'm getting these, I get these PMs all the time. That's just like, yeah, man, you should try this. It's so much better than Zycos. And I'm like, I don't. It's like I put a giant target on the back of my head that I don't care about.
Yep.
Favorite thing is customizability. So I love that I can take. There's so many options right now, and so many different things, and so many different springs, and so many different lubes that I can really fine tune exactly what I like in a board and make that board.
Yep. Next question is, when will we get Mechs on Deck merch? I think soon. I think we've had a lot of talks about doing stuff like that. I think our thought process initially was to do like t-shirts and stuff. But I don't necessarily want to do that right now. I feel like doing keyboard adjacent items and then maybe branching into that would be better. We love you too, Alex. So I think in desk mats, we had that conversation a couple weeks ago of doing like desk mats would be a good idea to start out, and then maybe branching into some more stuff as time goes on.
One thing I would love to do, I haven't even told you this, Osiris, but I mean, we talked about it, is koozies.
Yeah, dude.
Because they're
Stuff
super
like
easy,
that, yeah.
right? Yeah, and just shirts it becomes a little bit more, because we can go get 100 koozies or 1,000 koozies, and that get a cup, just bubble mailers and throw them out in the mail. It costs a couple bucks. And then stickers, which Moon, I swear to God,
I have some ideas for some stuff that I want to do that is like useful in keyboards, but I don't want to give them away because I don't want someone else that already has the ability to get them made to do it. So, but I'm gonna talk to you about.
I'm gonna make a sticker and then not send it to Moon. Next question. Do you think the community is too nice to people who have had previously designed popular sets or boards, but later comes out with subpar design? GMK keyboard. It seems if you have a good name, everything you make must be good. I think that people, it's not even like being nice. It's like we have these super fans that no matter what they release, it's good. Like, I think they're just people that are like, everything you do is great, and I'm going to support you no matter what. And then it's kind of like the idea, like when you love someone, you love everything about them. They become the best of everything, right? And so when you like something, it's like, even if you wouldn't like it, if you didn't know their name was attached to it, you're going to like it a little bit more because their name's attached to it. There's nothing wrong with that. Because the glory of this is you can like what you like and you can dislike what you dislike, because I see that as, I don't care if you think that's bad because that's your opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things where if someone is continually designing things and they have a string of things that are great, that we've said it before, of like, you're entrusting the designer in what you're purchasing. So if you have a consistent like track history with a designer, whether it's a keyboard, a set, or both, you're going to want to trust that person more. And I think that that's something that should be valued in the community in a sense. Because it's the same as like if you're looking at clothing, right? Like, everyone, you find a brand of shirts that you fit well, and then you purchase shirts from that brand. It's the same idea. Like, you're buying into that person's aesthetic, their design tendencies, their design styles. But I don't think that necessarily means that it should be like on God that it's going to be great. They can mess up. Everyone messes up. Everyone has something that doesn't necessarily come out exactly the way they hoped it would be. But I could see what Moon's saying here, of like, I guess people who have been in the community for longer. I think there's some people that have been in it for a long time that did some stuff really early on that get a pass on doing other things that maybe are lower effort. But that's like a different conversation entirely.
Mm-hmm. So, question number 25. We got the best advice for someone who wants to get into the hobby without spending too much money immediately. Switch tester, hot swap keyboard. I don't know how much too much money is, because too much money could be $100. Too much money could be $300. If it's $300, get yourself a hot swap keyboard, one of these like NK65s, maybe the Kara. One of these good solid boards that you're gonna really like. It's gonna have a good PCB with a hot swap PCB, so you can kind of test what you like for a lot cheaper. Yeah, and then the next step is clearly get yourself a Key Cold TKL number 1. So
yeah, exactly. No, I agree. I mean, and then invest. If you're someone, maybe you have something that you're good with and you want to wait for like a group buy, invest in some quality like tools. If this is something that you want to do, you want to get into the hobby and start building keyboards, get a nice like screwdriver set, a nice soldering iron, a SSO2 desoldering pump. Like, you can also invest in that way if you're wanting to wait for a group buy that maybe is something that you love. Because that could be really good.
Yeah, or if you don't really care about the building, but you like the finished product, and you get a board that you have to build. There are so many people in this hobby that would build the board for free. You pay for shipping. There are a lot of people in this hobby that just love building boards and like have built a lot. So, but yeah. But if you're in it for the long haul, absolutely get yourself the nicer stuff.
Next up, favorite games.
Among Us, and it's not even close.
A little recency bias there, but okay.
No, I love Among Us. I love so my favorite games ever. My favorite game of all time is Assassin's Creed 2. I think it was the greatest. I think it's one of the best made games, and it just like blew me away. It came out in like 2009, 2010. Love that game. Really like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I really like Overwatch. Stardew Valley is one that I fucking love. And Counter-Strike. I love Love me some Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I mean, mine is very like recent because I didn't really play video games at all growing up. I was big into music all throughout, middle school and high school, like going to concerts and stuff, skating, like was doing that whole thing. So I didn't actually get into playing video games really heavily until Chewy convinced me to build my own computer, which then got me into keyboards, which is why we're here now. So my favorite game of all time, I guess, is definitely going to be Overwatch. I've got probably easily like 2,000 hours of playtime between the multiple accounts that I have. And then CSGO will be 2. Also, do want to shout out Among Us because not only is it a amazing game to play, like it's a lot of fun, but it's also extremely entertaining to watch. Like if you have streamers that you enjoy watching playing video games or doing anything, watching them play Among Us together is hilarious.
Yeah, we've been talking. I know I've been talking to a couple people about now. The Among Us stuff is starting to. Let's just say that the couple flecks of snow have started to roll into a ball. Maybe something for Clack Fancy.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah. Let's see. In game is a myth. If you believe in the meme, right? If that's the case, then why is people leaving the hobby? Do people give up on achieving the most perfect ideal setup, or is it more like end game and simply falling out of love in the hobby when you're content with what you have?
Yeah, I think it's less of end game. I don't think it's necessarily a specific board and a completionist theory that pushes people out of the hobby. I think it's a mixture of drama, them not wanting to maintain it.
I'm in the keyboards for the drama.
Well, no. Like I'm saying, like what drama pushes them out, right? Like things keep happening. Maybe they get into a group buy that goes terrible, right? And then they're out. They're like, I'm done. We saw that with what was it? The Aquaria group by Oscar. I think he's still in the hobby, but there was at one point where he was like, this is going so rough for me that once this is done, I'm out. Like I'm done with the hobby. I just want to sell these boards and I'm out. Yep. And there's a lot of people who do that. And I think there's some people who are just like, I'm really happy with what I've got. I don't want to worry about trying to keep up with group buys, Reddit posts, Discords. I'm done. And there's a sense of people who probably just kind of grow out of it, just like any hobby, right?
Yeah, you get over it. Like we stopped playing Magic a whole lot after we went to like the second tournament. We spent all this time going to we was prepping for the tournament and hours and hours and hours prepping for this tournament. Went to the tournament, and then it was kind of like I want to take a break. Like we've been going so hard at it. I just want to take a break, and it was kind of like after that break happened, and then it just never really picked back up. Like it's just one of those things, like. I've told myself, I've had this conversation. If I was getting out of the hobby tomorrow, I would keep 3 boards. I would keep my Crown, my Key Colt, and my Baka. Probably, honestly, I'd probably sell the Key Colt too, but just keep my Crown because it's a TKL and it's good, like staying, and then my Baka because it's priceless to me. But because like yes, I love these keyboards, but you know when push comes to shove, they are keyboards, and like I don't plan on leaving the hobby anytime soon. I would be totally happy with those two boards for the rest of my life, but I'm in the hobby. I stream. This is a huge part of my life. Like you know, there's no point right now. I'm sure there's going to be a point in time. Like I even know Nathan kind of did that, where it's like you get to a point where you're like, I like these two boards or these three boards. I don't really need anything else. So Cyrus and I have talked about that a lot recently. Like I don't need anything else. Because like what else is there? I've achieved all these like in-game, I call them grail boards, like these in-game boards. I don't really need a whole lot, but I'm going to absolutely be in the hobby, keep stuff. Because on top of that, your tastes change, right? You know, like who knows? Maybe I'll be into 65% in 5 years. That's where I see a Mechs on deck in 5 years.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Right.
But yeah. Next up, in detail, describe the biggest complete fuck up you've ever had with a keyboard. Was it a personal build or a customer build? Inversely, what is the single best accomplishment you've achieved specific to keyboards?
Well, I'd say completing a group buy is probably the best achievement in the hobby. If you're talking about builds, the Discipline 65 was like a task, and I was very proud to build that. Biggest fuck up, I think the biggest fuck up I would have would be I was building my wife a board like 2 years ago, and I bought the wrong plate from KBD Fans. I bought a 2U left shift, and I literally got like all the way to the end of the build. I built it and everything, and I was putting the caps on. I was like, fuck. And I realized I couldn't fix it, and so I had to like redo the entire build and wait and pay for extra expedited shipping to get an $18. It was an $18 plate that I had shipped in like 3 days, so it was like want to be like $60.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to because of the recency bias. I'm gonna have to agree with DD Decline. Of one of my bigger compliments, especially as of late, was not having a rough time building the Kepler, because I know that it was kind of like that night before I did some research, which I don't typically do when I go to build a board. I watched some Teha types, some Top Clack, some Apiary build streams to try to figure out what the issues were, so I could prepare myself. And I luckily didn't have very many issues. I also watched DD Decline's build of the Kepler as well. Yeah, I was scared. I was nervous. I had conversations with 159 about it. Of like, dude,
Yeah.
what should I? Do you have any tips? And he's like, just go in there, dude. Just get it. He wanted me to go in blind, and I did.
Jay was a lot nicer. I hopped on a video call and was like, let's walk me through the JO1, because it's another one of those like historically challenging builds where I was just like like I've watched a lot, and there's like 3 different sets of gaskets running around right now. And Jay was like, yeah, just start clipping parts of gaskets. So
I think my biggest fuck up. I don't know if it was necessarily my. It's not necessarily that it was my fault, but I guess the time that I've been streaming where I was the single most frustrated was the canoe build a couple months ago. I built a polycarbonate canoe, and it was just like
polycarb.
Yeah.
It was red and it was aluminum. I thought it was aluminum. Maybe it was
polycarbonate. No, it was aluminum. You're right. I'm totally. I blocked it out of my mind because it was not a fun time. It was for a client.
Funny, it was an easy fix, but it's that streamer like you can't think 100%. You're not using every aspect of just like sitting there, because when you're streaming, you can't sit there and be like, let me think about this logically for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
because you have to be interacting with chat. You can't just take like a 5-10 minute breather of just let me look at the board and see what the issue is.
Yeah, it was just there were issues. The plate was bent. The plate was warped, and it just had issues. And then the switches were also too big for the plate, so they were getting like shaved off. The corners of the switches were getting shaved off when you put them into the plate. So it was just, yeah,
It's goofy.
it was rough.
Let's see. Discuss the pressure you feel to perform now that you're in consistent schedule of streams. What if you can name specific factors cause the pressure and anxiety for
I wouldn't say that I necessarily feel pressure or anxiety to like perform a certain way, just because of the history I have of like playing shows. Like when I started in like performance or being on stage in some capacity, I was by myself playing acoustic music in front of people. And that was all the way back in like when I was like 15. So it's been, 13 plus years of performing or being in front of an audience in some form or fashion. And it's something that I enjoy. But I feel more pressure in the fact of those weeks, the weeks where we don't have as much to talk about, or like, I guess if we have a guest on, sometimes there are guests that are not, that don't necessarily feel as comfortable on the channel or presenting, or they're not as outgoing. Sometimes we don't, not that we don't mesh with the guests, but like it's a little bit harder to get a longer form response out of them. I think I get a little bit anxious about that.
I deal with anxiety like just as a human quite a bit. Yeah, I think one, I did the music thing for a hot minute, so like people, I know a lot of streamers talk about like, oh, it's weird, like I can't watch myself, and like to critique yourself you have to go back and watch yourself, and that's something that we've never had issues with. But I think the one thing is, the nicer the cameras you get, the more detailed your images can be, which means you're fucking, when I see people are like, yeah, I'm watching you on my 65-inch TV, I'm like, cool, if I fuck up, I'm on your 65-inch TV and you're going to see something. But you can't panic about stuff like that. I think the biggest thing I have is if I'm like having a really bad day or I'm just not in a good mood, you have to shut that shit down and like be on. And there are some days where I definitely like, because there are some days where I just come out and I know Cyrus sees it, where I'm just like not feeling it. And then it's like the 5 minutes before we go live, it's like, you just have to be on. You just like, unless you don't do it, sometimes you just kind of have to be on, and like, it's like flipping a switch. So, I think that's the only thing that I find the pressure is the pressure to be that person all the time. Because I don't, people have bad days, right? But then it's like you have a shit day at work and you have a shit day at home, and then you got to stream. So it's, it's work. You gotta bring your A game. So, cause you never know, this could be the first time someone's watching you, and you don't want to be sad and depressed and anxious and nervous the whole time for someone's first time watching you.
Yeah. And I think what's cool too is a lot of times, and I know we've had this conversation too, is when you have those streams that you walk into and you're almost having to kind of like force yourself to be a little bit different than you're actually feeling. You end up having some of those streams end up being like really fun streams, and be like uplift your mood. Like I've had that happen before, where I come in and I have a really bad day, like Dave Big, so you can check it out. You have a really bad day, and then the stream is great and it really uplifts your mood. So I don't know. We both kind of look at this itself is somewhat of a hobby to both of us. So it's not, I feel like we kind of at least I try to downplay the pressure to myself a little bit of it, because it is kind of a hobby. It's something that I enjoy doing, and I want to maintain that. And
Yeah.
I've had a lot of conversations with Quakems Top Clack of like, if you're not having fun with what you're doing and the content that you're making, then you're not going to want to make content, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to want to do it. We do our show and it's like loosely structured because this is how we like to do it, because it works for us and it fits into our schedule, and this is the way we like to do it. That's why one of the main reasons why we changed up the schedule recently. This works better.
Changed
for
the
us.
schedule because it works better. I think, and we've changed how we do everything. We used to record the episodes, and then we started doing it on stream, and it just became more fun on stream. And then we kind of, things change. You can go back and watch us change because we'll get tired of doing something a certain way. And I think I had something that I was thinking of, but it's, when it becomes not fun, like we don't, when shit goes up in flames right in front of us, we're like, well, yeah, we're going to fucking talk about that. But a lot of times it's until the day of that we're like, hey, let's talk about what we're going to talk about, because we used to plan very tightly, and then we had the discussion. It's like, it's becoming too much of a second job. And until the money is becoming second job money, then I don't want to treat this as such. I don't want to push my life aside. We already give a lot of our lives outside of work to this. So, it became a struggle. It was like, once it's more, Osiris and I are very good at not improv, but like off the cuff, and sticking with structure. It's not really our thing.
No, the structure gets us more anxious than the unstructure of us just like going with the flow and just going
just
for
fuck
it.
Because we're good at reading each other too. That's the other thing that a lot of people. Osiris and I have known each other for 7 years now. So like Osiris and I know when, there are days where, if I'm not, like kind of what you said, we were talking about a second ago, if I'm not feeling great, Osiris is going to carry that episode. If Osiris is not feeling great, I'm going to carry that episode. Like, we play off of each other really well. And I think that's not from streaming together a bunch. That's right from the get-go. That's from living together for a year and a half and being best friends for a very long time.
Yep. Well, the next question kind of plays a little bit into that, but tangentially, I guess. Is what is your favorite thing about getting to do Mechs on Deck?
Getting to do Mechs on Deck. I get to build a lot of cool boards. Like that's super. It sounds super privileged, and it kind of is. Like, we get to build a lot of cool boards. That's like, I'm not trying to like humble brag, but like, I'm very fortunate that I get to build a lot of the boards that I get to build.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. I think also a piece of it is, and this is going to be a little bit of different, but is the fact that like it's something that, because Chewy and I have been such good friends for a long time, I think we're at the point where a lot of people will shift away from each other, in a sense of like the fact that he's married, I'm not, we have different things that we enjoy. We're not necessarily as intertwined as people as we were before. This kind of keeps us together and is something that, at least for me, is like, this is kind of our thing, right? Like, this is what we do together that is fun, and it's our creative expression, because we were never in a band together, although we talked about it.
Lies.
Oh,
Lies.
true. Megan and the Ets.
The Ets.
True.
Megan and the Ets.
But no,
we were in a church band that was kind of more like a cult band. And it was my wife and Eric, myself, and our friend Will, and we were at Megan and the Ets, and we were lit.
Thank you, Biohazard, for gifting Lindsay a sub to the channel. Appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's fun that it's something that my best friend and I get to do together. It's something that we're both passionate about and we enjoy, and it keeps us, close.
Yeah, and like there was a time before where all we really talked about was keyboards because Osiris started moving. I don't play video games competitively at all. Osiris was like, I'm going to be joining teams. I'm going to be doing Overwatch like all day long. I started streaming and doing all this Overwatch stuff. And that's just, we played a lot of video games together. And then he started doing that. I, by no means, I was like, I'm not going to be like, you have to do this. You have to play casually with me by any means. But that definitely, we'd always hung out. We lived very close. And then it was just kind of like, hey, we should do this. This is a cool thing, and it seems like a attainable option. Because we tried to do a video game type like video cast with some other people, and it just didn't. It just failed miserably.
Dude, shameless idiots, man.
Shameless idiots. So, I'm looking at Cat Mizu because I want it, but the number of kits is overwhelming me. Do you think it should be a thing where like Group I should include suggested kits for common layouts? That is an amazing idea for people like me who get overwhelmed by choice. Yes, I think if it's like, if this is your layout, these are the kits you need to buy. If this is your layout, these are the kits that you should buy. Like that's a amazing idea. And honestly, might hit up Candy Keys right after this.
Yeah, because I think you could even offer it as like a you could even offer it as a separate SKU. Like if you don't want to muddy up the drop down box on a on the website, you can make it like the beginner or like the TKL kit where it's just that. Yeah, I think that could be a cool idea. I think that would be pretty cool. There is a lot of choices. Like what was the other set that was running? It was another cat set, but it had like 65 kitting options.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember, but it was like so many. So many.
And that was by Her Royal Majesty Keeb Noob. So but yeah, that's a great idea. What's your favorite pre-built? I mean, I really like the Corsair model, the Corsair Master Keys Pro M because of the layout.
I think as much as I'm not the biggest fan of Topra, I think you can't go wrong saying like an HHKB. I think just like a standard HHKB, Type S, any of them, go for it.
Napoleonic, there you go. Rex
Yeah,
for entry level
original form.
Recommendations for entry level custom full size keyboards. It's not really super duper. Like for custom, I'd go for like the Rect 1800. Is pretty. I mean, it's a little more than entry level, but you're gonna be happy with it. If you're looking for like true entry level, but it's not really custom, the GMMK full size.
Exactly that. Next up, what are your personal favorite switches / switch plate combos? So we kind of answered this earlier, but
yeah, I do brass plates for everything. So brass plates, Zykos, brass plates, creams, brass plate, Holy Panda, brass plate, alpacas, brass plate, blueberries, like brass plate. I don't like the sound of very many other things, and then I like stiff, so brass.
Yeah, I really enjoy palm for linear switches and brass for tactile. So like Zykos and Holy Pandas and Moyu Blacks and Lilac Tactiles all in brass and for me, and then palm for my linears. I really, really, really love palm. The way it sounds, the way it feels, a little flexiness. It's nice.
What board are you most excited for? This is by T4. Most excited for hitting group by the next 3 months. If the Iron 180 is in group by the next 3 months, that one. If not, the second run of, I haven't typed on one yet because there's no meetups and no one got one near me, but the Rama U80 round 2, I believe, is launching.
It's live.
Soon. Oh, it's live? Okay,
Yeah.
then that one. It looks so good. I'm not going to get it because I love my crown and not really looking for anything keyboard related right now. So
yeah, I don't know. haven't really paid attention. The boards that I'm like really interested in, like in seeing more from, are boards like the Iron 180, the Lodestone, and the Evolve. Like the Lodestone and the Evolve are kind of like in TBD purgatory right now. In terms of when they will run. But yeah, so I think U80 is pretty cool. The Sage looks pretty freaking sweet. But
I'd get that, but I just don't have the money for it. Yeah. Why is so much of keyboard production overseas? Do you think it will happen in other countries anytime soon? Do you think it would reduce the cost? M0110, there's your answer.
yeah, no. The problem with American made, so I had this conversation with some people the other day. Like one of the only people that's consistently making American made products that are of high quality and are consistent is Norbauer. And he's like kind of the only one that has really been able to actually make that happen. And he's not operating at like a huge profit margin. So that's the other piece, is that manufacturing here in America is extremely expensive. Takes a long time, and historically the quality has not been the best. Whereas overseas you can get a higher quality at a lower price. Higher quality at a lower price. Yeah. And it's like at that point it's like, why not? So I don't think it'll reduce costs. Can't discount SP. Yeah, for keycaps, Signature Plastics, they're doing cool stuff. You know, SA sets have been awesome. It's like one of the only ones that we haven't had like issues. I know they messed up with some stuff for Sunday morning, but I think it was just like missing keys, wasn't it?
I think there's missing keys, and then there was a couple oopsies, but I don't remember the full details. I know Lang does, so Lang, if you throw it in the chat. Also, as I've looked into producing, the Baca in America. Unless I didn't want anybody in the group buy, like it's expensive.
Yeah,
it's expensive. So yes, you save on shipping, but it's still very expensive to ship. Like unless it's local. The only person that did local, he said he would only do 5 at a time. I'm like, that's no.
Yeah, that's like
doing 5 board
smaller batch quantities than you would want. So
best Thaki switches in Rama U80 or wait for TX EO87.
Well, best Thaki switches. I feel like that's a interesting question. Best sounding switches, in my opinion, are Zycos. But that's a pain in itself, and that would not work in a U80. Would not recommend putting those in a U80. So I would say probably
100 Zycos.
Yeah, I'd probably go Holy Panda in that situation. When you're talking about Rama U80 versus an EO87, that's like 2 wildly different genres of board. Points. Yeah, you're talking about like a mid-tier to something that's like mid-high tier. Like, you know, the U80 is I think a little bit higher than what the EO87. While that EO87 is a great board, it's not quite as aesthetically fancy as the U80. So I would say, what's more important to you, RGB or aluminum, like a thick metal board?
Yep. What's the next question? Or I can just read them all. That's fine. Like I don't give a shit.
No, it's bag lubing springs. Yes or no? If yes, what lube or oil do you prefer?
I use a tub. I use like a container. So yeah, I just bag lubing can be a little bit more difficult. So I use like a plastic Tupperware container. I use a mix of a lot of different things. I use 105. I use GPL 105 mixed with 205 grade 0, mixed with 3203 and 3204. I just throw all that crap in there, blend it all up, throw the springs in there. It's a mishmash, but I love it. I only do that really for my springs. I don't do that typically for other people unless they ask for it.
I use this, which is a case for Scotch colored electrical tape, which I have a bunch of. I have like 7 different colors of colored electrical tape. And
I
then
know I have one of them.
Oh, you have one of them.
I have green.
Oh yeah. There you go. So yeah, I use this and I use 105 almost exclusively. But there is a little bit of like 3204 in here, I think. But yeah. When get squid, Chewy?
Don't know, man. It's in production. I don't expect to hear anything about it until October. I might get some like teaser pics in September, but I honestly, there will most likely be a more actual update in October.
Next up asks, what is my dog's name? His name is Anubis, and he is a good boy.
Yep. As all dogs are. Next up, I've been wanting to buy a mechanical keyboard to upgrade my Corsair K55. What would be a good first keyboard less than $200 if you can get your hands on the NK65 and some switches, and then maybe if you can get one of their PBT caps, you can get out the door in under $200.
Yeah, I think that's a great option. Kind of blow through these. What are the differences between alpaca linears, JWK linears, H1 linears, JWK linears, silk or dry? Spring weights. Occasionally you'll see some that are different, like housing materials, like the tangerines or the kiwis. But for the most part, they're all the exact same switch with different spring weights. So you might get some variance if it's like a opaque housing or not, but that will typically change like the way it sounds. It might change the way it feels a little bit, but more or less they are the same switch, just with a different spring.
I can't answer differently. I'm building a keyboard and want $50 to $70 keycap set. 65%, something minimal would be nice. Check out Novel Keys. Those PBT sets are solid.
Yeah, OSA sleeves or one of those other ones would be pretty good. What board will you never get rid of, Chewy?
Baka 60.
Baka 60.
Baka 60. Mine's easy because mine is it's the number one. It's the first board I designed. I'm never gonna be able to get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a board right now that I could say 100% that I would never get rid of. I think my problem is I'm not someone that can let go of things super well in terms of like selling them.
68.
Like I have 2 Tada 68s that haven't had caps on them for a long time. I have 4 keycap sets that have never been taken or haven't been taken out in like 2 years, just in my desk, that I should sell, that I need to. So I don't know. I think I don't know. It's hard because if there was, given the situation where I like needed to sell things, like if I was really had it rough and like I had no other options, I don't think that there was anything that I would really hold on to. I think the first one that I would probably either be the Bauer or the Iron 165, which also is like a really hard thing to do because those are also the 2 boards that are worth the most money.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing. It's a hard question to answer. So I don't know.
And yeah, okay. So have you ever got experience with DIY number pads? I've been trying to find one to build because I need a number pad for work. I work from home, but all I want is the extra desk space for my casual evenings. So I'd like to be able to put it away. They seem hard to find. If you can get in on the KBD 8X numpad, that Discipad, I assume that's like the Discipline 65, but in a number pad. There are a couple, so
Yeah. I mean, You can get the
It's-
KBD pad too.
Yeah, like the OG one.
Well,
Yeah.
because they can't had the one that came out with the TKL.
Yeah, the KBDA index
Yeah.
pad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then the TX boards one.
Yeah.
So let's rock it through these last because it's been a long day.
Chewy's it's almost his bedtime.
It is almost my bedtime. When is Langlandia going to join Mechs on Deck? You just ask, bud. No, but when let's see, is that the same question? Yes, I guess that was put in twice on accident. Biggest annoyance of group buy runners. Not updating.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, mine's different. Unrealistic timetables.
Oh yeah, that's dumb.
Like
I saw one recently that was like this board's gonna be from group buy to delivery in like 90 days. And I was like, good. And it's an open group buy. I was like, good fucking luck, dude.
yeah, it's like one of those things is like don't set yourself up for failure. Like if having a quick turnaround time is a tactic for you to get more people into the buy, that's just it like screams issues. It screams issues. Just like overestimate. Like do a 7V and tell them it's going to be a year, over a year. Like, you know,
just let people. What's the worst thing that happens? It shows up 3 months early. Now you're a god. Now
Yeah.
you can ship. Now you have some time to ship your boards out.
yeah, because there's always going to be stuff that happens. Don't promise a timetable that's like super aggressive. Be less aggressive than what you've been promised.
Absolutely. And last but not least, our 50th question comes from Biohazard. When is your next 24 hours? I talked about this on the stream Saturday. So for those who don't know, the last 24-hour stream was not a good time for me. It's something Eric hasn't brought up to me at all since it happened. It's not something that I'm like dying to do right now, just because it brings up a lot of poor memories. We've talked about doing one where it's like he does 12 hours and I do 12 hours. We have no plans, right? We haven't planned anything because it's also those are a pain in the ass to plan. That's a lot of effort and time. And with the way the world is right now and job situations and all that, that's a very difficult task to accomplish right now. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure when. I wouldn't be surprised if we decide to do one before the end of the year. You know, we did one last holiday season. We might do one. I don't know. Who knows?
If we do one, it'll be in like December.
Yeah.
Because it'll be around the time that I'm on break from work.
Well, we probably won't. I don't know. We might change up like the format a little bit and do it less. Do something that's just like more chill because I don't know. This last one was a lot more chill from a structure standpoint, but obviously like it could be even more chill. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it's. I would watch you guys for 24 hours. Thanks, man. Because we've also talked about doing subathons and all that, but then that's tricky because then you wind up staying up for 38 hours. I don't think I could physically do that, but yeah, there's a lot of things we just haven't. It hasn't been something that we have sat down and been like, yeah, let's do. Like when we did the first one, it was very well. Once we were done with it, and we were like, let's do that again. After doing the second one, it was like that was cool. Outside of everything that happened, it was there. But there wasn't this just like we outside of all that, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed our 24-hour stream, but there was not a whole lot from that I was like, cool. I'm glad that we did that. Now let's go do this. So I think it'd be cooler to do like events, like an 8-hour or like a 12, because like 24-hour streams are cool, but it's kind of that like, you know, oh, let's try and achieve this goal of streaming for 24 hours. We've done that. but like it'd be cool to do like a big event where it's like this all day type thing where it starts at like noon and ends at 10 o'clock. That's to me cooler. You can plan some more stuff, and you're able to kind of make like I loved one of the best things that we've done in the last year. I think honestly is the Quarantine on Deck stream.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like, doing something like that would be cool. Also, the other piece of 24-hour streams for me personally, and obviously this isn't like 100% forced, but in order to give you guys the best content and like a unique experience for a 24-hour stream requires us to be together. I feel like that's a precedent that we have set with it, but that also requires me to literally take apart my entire desk and take it over to Chewy's place, which obviously right now you're not aware, I don't have a car anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a way to do that right now. So
and the reason we do it here is because food. Food. So unless there you go. But yeah, that's the question. Thank you for submitting questions. For those you did, definitely appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Teja, for joining with the raid. So definitely gonna PM him later. Hope you're getting your sleep schedule back up. Let's run through some sponsors because we're going to actually kick the keyboard of the week to tomorrow. It is getting a little bit late. So we'll have Mr. Kimchi Jody Boy judge us. We will include the pictures that were posted tonight. We'll absolutely include in tomorrow's post. Just make a big deal out of an 8-hour stream. I dig it. But real quick, our sponsors, our awesome sponsors, you can go to switchmod.net/Mechs on Deck for 4% off of your order. That's non-group buy. Check out GMK Beta, based off of videotapes and kind of the vintage look that was the vintage look of the HHKB keycaps, partially designed by Heinebusch and Krelbit. Be sure to check out that while it is still in group buy. You can go to Dixie Mech and go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com, which we'll talk about this tomorrow. SA DualShot just launched this month. It got pushed up. Very, very excited. That was one that I sent Osiris a PM, and I was like, I'm getting this. It looks so clean. So be sure to check that out, as well as the 8008 ink switches are still in pre-order. And the bags are coming up soon. So you can go to mechsondeck.project.link. Right now, you can still go pre-order some of his sets, but I know that he's going to be running GMK Noir starting next month. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. And then candykeys.com/Mechs on Deck for GMK Yuru and Cat Mizu. That's the sets, right? Or did I mess that up?
Yeah, that's the you're on. Come
on, we're good. Cat Mizu with the bajillion kits, but as well as GMK Yuru. Go check out those sets. And then our awesome partners, Zap Cables, who makes the best cables in the business. Type Beast, you can go typebea.st for one of the best newsletters in this hobby. And Smith and Rune, check out smithandrune.com. Pick up some awesome merch, some awesome shirts, sweatpants, whatever you want. And keep an eye out on the Iron 180, as that will be launching soon.
Absolutely. I do want to give another quick shout out to Mr. Teo Types. Appreciate the raid early on in the stream. Appreciate everyone who stayed, all the new people, the follows, the subs. Thank you so much. It means so much to us for y'all to hang out with us every Tuesday and Wednesday night, as well as Saturday afternoons. Again, we will be live 22 hours from now at 8 p.m. Central tomorrow with Mr. Kimchi Jody Boy, talking about keyboards, talking about getting into streaming, talking about just being in the hobby and what it's like here in 2020. So come hang out with us tomorrow. And then Saturday, I will be building a board. Cows Can Cook, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. I will be building a board. It is TBD what it will be. I've been presented with a couple options, so we'll see what'll happen. But yeah, I will be building a board at 2 p.m. on Saturday. So come hang out. It'll be a good time.
So as the Tuesday streams, we like to go expand and hit them with the show us your keyboard. I went to an Among Us, just scrolled down, saw someone named Data Dave, and got to support the people that are named same as you. So we're gonna raid this guy named Data Dave, who's playing Among Us. I've never seen this guy, but seems chill, and he's playing Among Us, which I'm literally about to go to. I'm gonna turn off these lights and play some Among Us. So we're gonna start this. Let's hit him with that. Show us your keyboard. Copy, paste. So go watch some Among Us. Like I said, we don't know, but we gotta expand. We gotta get people into the hobby. Let's get people into the hobby.
Absolutely. Go hang out. Among Us is fun to watch, even if you don't know who the streamer is. It's a good time. Yeah, go hang out with Mr. Data Dave, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central. What do you say, Chewy?
Buy a Switch tester.